This is a show for grown-ups.
And they say bad words.
And they say bad words.
Say final warning.
Final warning.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Jumping the Street Sharks. I'm your host, Richard Sullivan.
And I'm your host, Nate Magnuski. Nope, fuck. I already fucked it up. I'm your co-host, Nate Magnuski.
Host, co-host, it's all the same.
No, this is your baby. This is your fault.
Don't put that on me, Nathan. This whole idea was part of your drunk text.
That's probably true.
Man, I had this dream where we were doing a Street Sharks podcast. And I'm the dumbass that said, why not?
And here we are.
And we'll charge for it, too. And today we're talking about Jurassic Shark. Probably the best pun in all of the Street Sharks names.
And maybe the best episode?
Ooh, we'll get there when we get there. This is Season 3, Episode 1. It's a new year. It's a new season for the Street Sharks. It's still the same crappy year for us.
Yep.
This aired January 5th. 1995. What happened?
Oh, let's see. Austria, Finland, and Sweden act to join the European Union.
Glass Menagerie closes at the Criterion Theater in New York City after 57 performances.
The Canadian Mounties celebrate their 100th year anniversary in the Yukon Territory.
The most distant galaxy yet discovered found by scientists using the Keck telescope in Hawaii, estimated to be 15 billion light years away.
Gary Larson pens his final The Far Side comic.
Were you one of those cool kids, and I know you were, because you were like me, that had the Far Side t-shirts?
Hell yeah.
Like cat food, School for the Gifted, and the kids pushing on the door.
I had the Wayside School for the Gifted shirt, and I wore it proudly, probably far too often.
It was like those, and like, do you remember the really cool Looney Tunes t-shirts that looked like Gap ads?
Yeah, and they were like kind of gangstery, like Bugs had his pants around his thighs.
They were not the gangster ones, but the ones that were like black and white.
Oh yeah, it was.
They were like
a
heroin chic.
Yeah.
Looney Tunes.
It's a Calvin Klein Bugs Bunny showing off his like hips.
A bus crash in Luzon, Philippines. 29 killed.
I thought I was a Segway fucking master, but you just blew me out of the water with that one. That was the best. Newt Gingrich crawls out of the sewers and becomes Speaker of the House. And he cheats on his dying wife several times. English bowler Darren Goh picks up 6 wickets against Australia in the 3rd Test of the Ashes series in Sydney. The AFC crushed to the NFC in the Pro Bowl that year, 41-13. So eat shit, assembled might of the NFC. You suck.
The Dropner wave in the North Sea in Norway is detected, confirming the existence of freak waves. With a Lockheed C-140 Jetster crashes in Isfahan, Iran, killing 18.
Not much of a jester. Read the room next time, Jester.
Jetstar.
Oh, that makes
Jetstar.
more sense. History check. This fucking episode's so fucking good.
We'll get to it, goddammit.
I'm so horny for this one.
We can't do that without talking about the drinking game, goddammit.
Fine. Edge me more, daddy.
Nate, anytime there's a catchphrase such as a jawsome, or one that, even if it's not a catchphrase, it seems like it should be, take a drink.
Whenever we hear an amazing ocean or some kind of fish pun, take a drink.
Anytime there's any gene slam or any other pseudoscience, including time travel pseudoscience, take a drink.
Whenever we're blessed by visitation from our beloved guy in the sky, take a drink.
Whenever the show reminds you so hard that they're not the Ninja Turtles, take a drink.
Whenever anything extreme happens, I'm talking bungee jumping, rollerblading, doing heroin in a back alley, anything extreme, take a drink.
When a character does the thing that they're named after, take a drink.
Or whenever Paradigm has an awesome transition and becomes the evil Dr. Paranoid, take a drink.
This is the 90s after all, so anytime we have 90s tech or 90s slang, we'll combine those two. Take a drink.
Whenever we learn that Paradigm has furthered his reach as a real estate mogul, take a drink.
Anytime Ripster gives one of his cool Rob Snyder copy guy nicknames, take a drink.
Whenever we have the glorious return of a beloved character, I'm really out for Slash and Slopster in this one. Take a drink.
Anytime there's lazy or otherwise recycled animation, take a drink.
Whenever we get one of those awesome teeth transitions where the teeth go like into the camera, take a drink.
And anytime there's any sports commentary, take a drink.
Now, there's one important rule here that modifies all other rules. Whenever any of that happens with an echo, it doubles it, right? So if it's like shark dive, take a drink. Well, multiple drinks, as it were. Are there any that... Ooh.
You owe me a pib.
Oh, put on my tab.
You were going to say that if I said Coke anyway, so. Tab button. No time for a drink now. I've got work to do. Are there any you want to add this week, bud?
Whenever the writers, amazingly, have a historically accurate fact or representation of something, take a drink. There's a couple things I was like, damn, you actually did some Googling in the olden ways.
Some Funkin' Wagnall encyclopedian.
Yeah, busted out the Funkin' Wagnall, yeah.
Was that the only household to have a Funkin' Wagnall?
My dad mentions Funkin' Wagnall, but I think it's just because it's fun to say. I think we had
Hall & Oates and Funkin' Wagnall. It's the same thing.
Funkin' Oates. Are there any rules you want to add?
No.
Sweet. We can go then. We can move on.
So let's get into Season 3, Episode 1. Nate, what had happened?
Finally. We open outside of an airport. The brothers and Benz are cruising around to go and get some hamburgers and a bunch of other random shit they list, like bubblegum fudge ice cream, chili cheese fries, and biscuits and gravy. But not pizza. Never fucking pizza.
The airport food is the worst.
Yeah. Who goes to an airport for the food? And also, why is there a McDonald's on the runway?
Maybe it's a distribution center and they fly all the frozen patties. So you won't get frozen patties at a Wendy's.
No,
but at McDonald's, they can freeze their patties and then ship it all across America.
That's true. That's how they get you. So they go to get this disgusting shit. Slamu says he's hungry enough to eat a dashboard, and Benz gives him like this wicked fucking look like, fuck around and find out, man. See what happens, you bite my goddamn dashboard. But thankfully, they arrive at this terrible airport restaurant just in the nick of time. Ripster says, feeding frenzy!
Take a drink.
But then, using his heightened sense of smell introduced in the last episode, he says he smells Seviets.
What does Seviets smell like?
I imagine they smell like low tide. And I know we have a lot of Midwestern listeners, so get on an airplane, go to a nasty beach, and wait for low tide. Like a seagull fart. So Streaks wonders what they'd want in an airport. And obviously they came for the same reason the Sharks did, for the cuisine. Jab says those minnow brains will be taking a long trip when he's done with them. And that's like a fish pun, I guess, right? Minnow brains?
No.
It's a fish reference. It's something fishy.
It's a reference. There's a lot of fish references.
Take a drink anyway. I don't know. It feels like something. Do some crack with that one. That's a crack one. We're doing crack rules now. Benz has the information they crave, though, to answer that question. He says that the university is sending a sample of stable antimatter via air freight to NASA. Jab and Streaks note that there's a police chase right behind them, suddenly, and that, quote, those bottom feeders are pretending to be us again. Let's haul Finn. Are those fish puns?
Well, yeah, because they eat ass. They're bottom feeders. And they're driving, like, I wrote down McDonald's toy vehicles.
Yes. They're both dressed up as Ripster, which that's embarrassing. Like, one of you should have changed.
But they're way better than the old Seviets costumes from Season 1.
Yeah, well, I imagine they were buried with those, with high honors, like... In the arms of Poseidon. They're going incognito, but, like, their cars are literally a giant fucking octopus and a giant eel. Like, come on. So this is, of course, the two surviving members of the Seviets, Killamari and Reptile. It seems like they survived the cut. Sadly, the others, they didn't make it, man. I'm sorry. Finish your drink in honor of their fallen comrades.
and pour some out for him.
Yeah. So Reptile's complaining that he wants to take off the mask, but Calamari says no, because Paranoid will deep fry their DNA in ooze oil? Is that ooze oil? I heard that right? Okay. I was like, my speakers on this laptop are fucked. Like, what does that say? But ooze oil. Okay. That's the thing.
It's Greek.
Paradigm, meanwhile, is chilling in the back of a truck turned mobile lab with a new Ceviate named Louis.
Who the fuck is Louis? He's like Rizzo the Rat meets Peppy.
I wish he was that great. He's horrible. I hate Louis.
Worst.
So Louis is kind of this like sawed-off little weird weak Ceviate that talks a good game. He wants to like let me at him, but he's a wicked wuss. He doesn't want to do anything.
So why did he make him? Just to feel superior, or do you think he was an accident?
I imagine it's for sex.
So for power.
Yeah, exactly. He wanted something to have dominion over, and he had an open spot for another crustacean on the team, since Lobster is no longer here. So that's why he made Shrimp Louis.
So do you think we'll get a really subpar swordfish next episode? Or am I jumping into predictions?
I mean, I know for a fact there's a Marlin eventually in the series.
Instead of Slash, it can be Hack.
I mean, I can spoil what his name is right now.
Don't.
It's excellent. And Mr. Ray is going, yes, it is excellent. I won't spoil El Sordo.
God damn it!
Louis can't wait to tangle with the sharks, but he is really tiny and sad looking. Paradigm says he's not going to do that. Instead, he's going to use his new time machine to get some cool big animals from back in the day to Gene Slam.
Listen, if you have a time machine, Gene Slamming is the least of your concerns. You've invented a time machine.
Like, go back and strangle the Bolton boys in the womb. No problem.
Or that. I just meant for scientific betterment.
Whenever you enter time travel into a show, everything gets fucky. Like, there's so many questions like, well, why didn't you just go back and do this instead? And we can't dive into that right now.
Or have we already?
Oh, shit. So once the Ceviates return with a stable antimatter, Paradigm will insert it in the chronorefractor and will be able to
slam time itself.
Yes.
Yeah, take like a super Gene Slamming pseudoscience drink.
Apparently, canonically, this machine is known as the Time Slammer. They never say that in the show, I don't think, but that's what it has to be called. So, while this is going on, the cops are closing in on the Ceviates, but luckily, they're near some kind of municipal power plant. Reptile blasts energy through the closed window of his car.
Did you notice what was missing?
There's no cummies to be found. He's got he's all juice, no seeds.
So I'm assuming this is a new season, and they thought better of it.
Yeah, they had like a couple test programs like, how do you feel about him blasting cum on people for a weapon? And people are like, not a fan. And one guy was like, definitely a fan. So the non-cum is blue now, and it goes all over this place, it swirls around, and it creates a massive fissure in the road, separating the Ceviates from the pursuing cops. But it doesn't stop the street sharks, who say something like, fins up, bros, it's shark jump time. And then jump on over that thing. So take a couple drinks for that stuff, I think. Streaks refers to the Ceviates as, quote, seafood salad to go.
There's a ton of alliteration this episode.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call it every one because I didn't write them all down.
But just know.
Just know.
So the Ceviates, knowing that they're about to die, split off in different directions. Jab and Streaks head after Calamari, and Ripster and Slamu head after Reptile. Calamari, like e-brake, slides into the garage where Paradigm's mobile lab is parked and hands over the antimatter. Even though there's murderous shark people like right fucking there, Paradigm takes the time to gloat and once again be like, by the way, did I mention this sweet-ass time machine? Because it's pretty central to the episode.
I mean, if I invented a time machine, I'd never shut the fuck up about it.
That's true. Shrimp Louie, Richard's favorite character, talks some good shit to Calamari, who then threatens to turn him into popcorn shrimp or Cajun shrimp or something. What was it?
Cajun popcorn. After he grows about 3 sizes like the Grinch's heart.
I thought he just kind of stepped towards the camera.
One or the other. Scale has no meaning. It's like when Megatron turns into a gun.
So Paradigm tells him to shut the fuck up and witness history.
No. Witness a historic moment. Ha ha ha. No, I wrote ha 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 because that's funny. It's time traveling, so it's a historic moment.
I guess. I mean, it feels like a reach.
I liked it.
All right. So he puts the antimatter into the antimatter hole and says, "It's booting up." Then a tiny, like, brown tornado shows up, which I guess that's the time vortex.
It was like an orange.
Okay, fine. I was about to ask you, was that brown or red? It was orange, so whenever Nate fucks up a color, take a drink.
And whenever Richard gives him total shit about it and makes up colors, maybe it wasn't orange. Nate'll never know. Take a drink.
I have to believe it. So Paradigm then helpfully explains how it works. Whatever's shoved in gets sent back to the distant past. I'm sure this will never come up for like another 30 seconds or so. Jab and Streaks are outside, smelling Ceviets, because I guess that power is contagious. Or they just fucking reek. Regardless, Streaks wants to bust in and kick ass, and Jab's like, man, slow your roll, we gotta be cool. Streaks says he should carefully shove his head up his own ass, and dives underground and says, it's fin kicking time. Fucking
Jab rams into the wall instead of going underneath, and it makes like a cartoon bonk noise.
Yeah,
like there might as well have been Tweety birds floating over his head.
Yeah. Yep.
First of all, he can chew through steel, so they never said like, oh, Piranoid must have a adamantium layer.
Right.
And if he did, why wouldn't he put it underground? Because he's smart enough to know the sharks can dive.
He doesn't think the way you and I think, Richard. He went to community college.
At night.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Streaks is inside the garage and confronts Paradigm, who is very calm about it all. And he demands the antimatter. And Piranoid says that it would interfere with his plans for world domination and better living through genetic modification, which... Mwah,
need that on a
so
t-shirt.
Good.
Paradigm Industries.
Yeah, better living through...
It's like Whalen Yutani building better worlds.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as he said that, I was like, if he ever runs for office, I'm voting for him. But just turn me to something cool. I don't care. It can be whatever you need, man. Paradigm flips the switch, and the time vortex swirls around Streaks. Jab shows up just in time to see his brother whirled away in one of those classic time tunnel animations. It looked just like Turtles in Time. He sees his brother get whisked away in this time tunnel, right? And he goes, "Where are you?" And I'm so proud of the writers for resisting having Paradigm say, more like, when is he?
Sends him all the way back to 10,000 BC. And what made me laugh was after Streaks gets sucked through the portal, Jab's just kind of like standing there like, what? And you just see Paradigm's arm come from off where he goes, book. That just made me laugh.
Like, yeah, that's not fast enough. See ya.
Boom.
So, yeah, Jab gets sent back to 10,000 BC, and Streaks gets sent back even further.
15 million years ago.
150 million.
That's what I said. 150 million years ago.
Which you know your boy. I hear Jurassic Shark, I hear 150 million years ago, and I'm like, when was the Jurassic period?
I looked it up. It is on the cusp of the Jurassic and the Cretaceous period, all in the Mesozoic timeline.
So Jurassic ended 145 million years ago, and they said 150, so it counts. They got it right.
Yeah, but to be fair, this show's 30 years old.
I don't think that matters in the grand scheme. If the show was 30 million years old, you'd have something. Streaks exits the time tunnel in some primordial jungle, and Jab ends up in a massive ocean. Streaks refers to the jungle as Veggie City and complains that he can't skate without concrete. But does he take his skates off?
No, he gets around just fine, really.
Yeah, he's all right. It seems the dirt's well packed. In the next scene, he steps into the mouth of some giant evil... No, it's not evil. It's just hungry.
Right.
Primordial...
Fly trap.
That word. Yeah, it's a
prehistoric fly trap.
He chomps his way out of its head, and then like immediately after, he almost is crushed by a giant banana.
Which I thought, because the next shot is a giant praying mantis.
Yeah.
So I thought, did he get shrunk during time travel?
Right. Like
bananas were never that big.
No.
And praying mantises weren't for that matter either.
They were not. You are correct. This thing is like as big as a fucking giraffe, and he doesn't want any part of this, so he shark dives away. And now we're back with Jab in the big blue sea. He's doing the backstroke. You're a shark, man.
Yeah, but he also says, ew, salt water.
Right.
He's a shark.
I know.
He's like a pig in shit, or a shark in water. Mm-hmm. I think that's even a saying, isn't it?
It sounds like it should be.
I just said it, so it's a saying.
There you go. So he's complaining that he never stuck with Streaks. He should have stayed with his brother. But at least it's not really true that Piranoid sent him back to 10,000 BC. But then a giant sea serpent appears. And so obviously, this is one of those 10,000 BC sea serpents. Wait, 10,000 BC serpents. Yeah, now we're cooking with gas. I thought they're gonna have this big cool battle or something. The sea serpent just swims away, and then he gets bitten.
Sea serpents are more scared of you than you are of them.
I've heard that. Yeah, like giant spiders that live in the water. Speaking of giant spiders that live in the water, a crab bites his toe, and then he goes, "Fuck this," and he throws it into into this horizon. Like, why? Why the crab? I like that he saw the serpent and he was like, "Oh man, that's tough," and it swims away. And then a crab bites him. He's like, "Fuck this!" And he's like, swims as fast as he can the other direction. Like, the sea serpent didn't inspire fear in you. The crab did.
And again, why is a crab fucking with a shark? It knows better.
Right. Starving, I guess. Back in modern times, the boys have lost Reptile and now changed their mission to finding their brothers. They end up at the garage, but there's no trace of their missing comrades there. What?
Hey,
what?
I want you to pause something.
Yeah.
Why don't you pause at 8:53? Go ahead and rewind to 3:45. Same shot.
Is it lazy animation?
Yep. Take a drink.
There we go.
There's 2 of them this episode.
Good catch. I
least
didn't
I
catch
thought.
either of them.
Hey.
So they're in this garage. There's no trace of the guys, other than, of course, the abandoned shark cruiser and the tracks from a 16-wheeler. I guess they couldn't afford the other 2 wheels.
Where are our bros?
I'll tell you where they are. One of them is holed up in a nice deep cave waiting out the mantis. He slowly climbs out, but oh no, what's this? Like an apatosaurus or something, I guess?
That's the one with the flat teeth, right?
Yeah.
Now, is that an herbivore or an omnivore?
That's an herbivore. The apatosaurus is an herbivore. Because it has the big fat old teeth. It was just meant for grinding up the roughage. As soon as that happens, we switch immediately back to Jav, who is now swimming alone on the ocean surface. And you can breathe water, right? Like, he's got gills. They must be functional.
Nothing about this makes sense in the next 5 minutes it's about to happen.
And, like, I thought he'd be a much better swimmer. Did you have that impression, too?
Yeah, like
he's
a shark?
He can swim under concrete well enough. I think water would be easier. But he's doing, like, the breaststroke and the doggy paddle and backstroke. Like,
fine.
For humans, sure. But, like, you're a shark, goddammit. Shark around. Ugh. He stops paddling in the middle of the ocean, which is completely indistinct from any other part of the ocean, and says, "Whew, I'm safe now." How do you know? It's the ocean. There's nothing around you. There's no landmarks.
Radar.
Oh. Like the electroreception?
Sure.
Well, he's fucking wrong anyway, because he gets dragged beneath the surface of the water. He's suddenly in a big-ass cage, being dragged towards an underwater city by 2 blue-armored mermen. But we don't have time to deal with that, because now we're back in dinosaur times with Streaks. He manages to escape the apatosaurus because it was, quote, as stupid as it was big. So he sees a pterodactyl, and he's got to have eggs somewhere, right? Because he's getting hungry.
Choice of Mundo.
He tackles this motherfucking pterodactyl, and I loved it. But it turns out that was the baby.
Yeah, but he says, if it is a bird, there must be eggs. What the fuck do you care about eggs? You're a shark. Just eat them.
Yeah. Eat the bird. No one's going to judge. There's no witnesses. You're the only sentient being in this whole place.
They're there for your pleasure.
That's right. Garden of Eden style. Garden of Eden. Because he's going to eat him. But it turns out that's a baby, and the mama shows up, swoops in and beat his ass. It grabs Streaks and carries him off, and I thought he was carrying towards the volcano.
Yeah, they were going to drop him in it.
Yeah, I'm like, that's going to be sweet. But no. With him being carried off, we're back in the present. Killamari says Streaks is 150 million years in the past, which again, perfectly in the end of the Jurassic period. Killamari thinks they'll never be able to find the sharks, but Paranoid says time travel disrupts the fabric of time along the temporal axis.
Take a drink.
Yeah. Shrimp Louie, well, I can't call him just Louie. Shrimp Louie says he knew that, and Killamari tells him to just shut the fuck up. And then he starts tossing tiny squids at him. Where does he get these? Because they're not as harpoons. Ugh. So they got rid of one and they added him to him instead? Because he shoots harpoons. I figured, okay, toss a couple of harpoons.
His harpoons met with Reptile's electrocummies, and now he has squid babies he throws.
I've heard a lot of fucked up sentences in my time. I hated that one the most.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I can't. I hate that the most. Anyway, Paradigm's TV, his time TV is working, and they see Streaks getting carried away by a pterosaur.
How? Does he have, like, time drones?
Well, obviously, they just narrowed his frequency on the temporal axis because of the disruption. Think this through before you talk, Richard. So Paradigm's admiring the girth of the ancient reptiles. And Louis says, "You won't get rid of us, right?" And he says, "Not if you, as they say, get your genes together."
He's pretty proud of that one.
No one says that, though.
But again, he wants to gene slam dinosaurs. It's the same plot of Jurassic World. It's not enough you brought back dinosaurs. Now you have to have genetically altered dinosaurs?
They spent so much time thinking if they could. You know, they never bothered to think about if they should.
But I guess all the dinosaurs were genetically altered to begin with because they changed their sex organs with frog DNA so they couldn't reproduce.
That's
and
right.
I can't help but wonder, are we playing God here?
Back in the past, Jab is in prison in the underwater city, lamenting the loss of his brothers, even if it is all Streaks' fault. And so, like, yeah, good for you. Then a lady's voice says, "Cheer up, Street Shark." And we see a lady mermaid opening up the viewing window to his cell. She introduces herself as Lyra.
The DC fanboy in me was so mad. They're in Atlantis. She's Lyra, not Mira.
So Lyra's a female chief science supervisor of Atlantis. Don't confuse her with Lena. It's the exact same character, but with
Maybe
an
they're
N
related.
and an R. Oh, shit.
She could be like the great
Yeah.
grandma.
Jab goes to introduce himself, but she already knows who he is because she read his Tinder profile. She says like everything about him. She knows that he's been gene slammed. He used to be human. And she knows about Paradigm's involvement, etc., etc. And it turns out she can read minds, but only of friendly creatures. Will that little clarification make a big difference later on in the episode? Nope, not at all. Why did you bother putting it in?
Cuts down on exposition.
Does it? All I have to do is say, "Yeah, I can read minds." In fact, it adds exposition to say, "of only friendly creatures."
But that's how she knows that he's a good guy, because otherwise she wouldn't be able to read him.
I guess. Well, it turns out I thought he was a Neptunian spy. Who are the Neptunians, Richard?
They're evil sea creatures that want to destroy all peaceful beings in Atlantis.
That's right.
Remind you of anyone?
So she says her people are experimenting with time travel and they want to help. But just then, the Neptunians attack. But let's not resolve that storyline, because right now we're back in Jurassic times. Streaks is in a giant nest. He's promising vengeance on Paradigm no matter how many years it takes. And he says he's going to pound old fish lips into jellyfish paste. He Gilligan's Island's hang glider of sorts, right?
Out of bones and leaves.
Yeah, no coconuts though. And he's going to jump off this massive nest using this cave punk hang glider. And he says, "Shark, flight."
No, he says shark glide.
Is it glide?
Yeah, so shark glide, which is like a shark dive. So,
Yeah.
to my rule earlier, anything that sounds like it should be a catchphrase.
Yeah, go for
Take
it.
a drink.
Also, it's kind of extreme. It's hang gliding.
Double drink.
And he soars gracefully to the ground. He scares off a dinosaur and he says, "You think he never saw a flying shark before." But he has no time to celebrate his escape, Richard. Because just then, a massive theropod shows up to eat him. Now, of course, Richard, who do you think this theropod is? Because we all know T-Rex was in the late Cretaceous. Can't be T-Rex, and also the fingers are wrong.
Is it an Allosaurus?
No, you fucking troglodyte. It's obviously a Megalosaurus. Because he's got 3 fingers, and he lived in the late Jurassic.
You think you're better than me because you know that?
I Googled it. Because I'm a professional. And that's why I'm better than you. And we're back in modern times. Paradigm is explaining his latest plan to the Seviets. Reptile and Calamari are going to lure the other sharks into the time vortex. And Louis, this is going to be bait. So Reptile is out on the streets in his cool new car, doing his best to lure Ripster into the trap. Bands and Slemu meet him at a warehouse door, reasoning if Reptile was in the warehouse, Paradigm's probably in there too.
Also, at 6:14, I didn't write down the original appearance. That building with the for sale sign on top. And
Yeah.
zoom in. Recycled.
There you go, drink. So we never saw Reptile go into this building, but I guess we just assume he went in there.
It looks
I'm
like an
sure.
evil lair, so.
Yeah, Ripster smelled him. Now, we don't know this is owned by Paradigm. So,
Could be a rental.
you look like thirsty people. Go ahead and take a trip. 3 guys stand on the most obvious trap door in the history of animation. Like, I was like, why would they draw the shadow of the door like that? It looks like a door on the ground. It's because it was a door on the ground. And as soon as they turn the handle to the door on the wall, they fall through.
And they even say, this smells like a trap. But our brother's in there, bro. We have to do it.
Yeah, bro guy.
So why not just, throw a rock at the door, poke it with a big stick?
Yeah. They fall into darkness, and we're back in Atlantis again. The Neptunians are laying siege to the city / factory, whatever, with, just one submarine firing torpedoes. It's not really like a siege. So Jabba's inside, promising to kick the Neptunians' fins, and he's wearing a scuba suit.
Why? He's a shark. So it must be very important that he keeps that on at all times, then.
Well, I was wondering, okay, maybe it's the pressure's too much. Because as we all know, hammerheads can go as deep as nearly 2,000 feet below sea level, right?
Correct. Duh.
Yeah. So maybe it's deeper than that, or maybe his human DNA made him not able to withstand such depths. And so, like you said, Richard, he must have to keep that all the time, because
otherwise he'd die. Surely.
No, it's life or death. So he swims over to the attacking submarine, takes his helmet off, and just bites a big hole in the side. Then he puts his helmet back on and swims away. That's it. The next scene is he's back inside the fucking city, and all the Atlanteans are raising the roof. They're all like, woo, woo. They got their hands up. It's great. The submarine doesn't explode or anything. He just kind of dives away. That's it. That's the end. He solved their torpedoes problem. It's so fucking dumb. That's all it took? You couldn't do that on your own? You super scientists? He's celebrating this. He says, Jawsome. And then he gets sad about his brothers. But thankfully, Lyra's there, and she says that she's going to get him to go home.
It's a good thing he was wearing the helmet, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to see him cry.
That's why I cry under the ocean, so my feelings and tears feel small by comparison. Back in the present, Ripster, Slimu, and Benz are trying to find their way out of this warehouse basement. It looks like the only way out is a staircase leading up, but that's obviously a trap. So Slimu and Ripster shake the support columns instead, crashing the upper floor down around themselves. They say Sharkquake, and this seems like a massive missed opportunity for a seismic slam.
Yes, but it also seems like it should be a catchphrase, so take a drink.
Yes, either way. Paradigm's time trailer crashes down into the room, and the other Seviets crawl out, and they're really mad. Paradigm transforms into Piranoid, and Louis says, "Let me at him!" Ripster takes one step towards him, and Louis is like, actually, fuck that.
Take a drink for the transformation.
Yeah. And Piranoid, not wanting to be mad in front of his kids, controls himself and turns back into Paradigm. He confronts Ripster. He says that the other two are back in time. And then he says, I also eat shit, and he blows up his time machine, trapping the sharks forever. The explosion tosses Benz and Slimu across the room, and Paradigm and the Seviets make their escape. And then as the Seviets escape, we go back to dinosaur times. Streaks is still running from the Megalosaurus. He says he's fast food, but not fast enough. Then he does some cool flips and judo kicks the dinosaur right in the face.
Well, he goes, I'm going to have to use my opponent's strength and size against him. Something all right, like a judo toss. No, I just karate kicks him in the head.
Yep, it doesn't really work. He falls on his ass. He's like, well, fuck karate. It sucks. Back in Atlantis, Jab and Lyra are looking at a, quote, 3D time scanner. Take your drink. It's pseudoscience.
It's the sacred timeline from Loki.
Exactly that. I was like, that's where they got this. They fucking cribbed it right from this. Yeah. So Lyra is explaining that the wiggly lines are time trails. She's going to send Jab back to get his brother, and then return them both to their correct time, thus pruning their offshoots. It'd be cooler if she could send them back in time right before Paradigm gene slammed them in the first place.
Or to kill baby Hitler.
Or to raise them in a loving household. That might work too.
Just saying, when you get a time machine, it's the first thing everybody wants to do.
But then again, if she did that, then they'd never be gene slammed to go back and save her and save themselves to go back in time to kill baby Hitler. So,
oh, I've gone cross-eyed.
Yeah. And there might be time cop rules where they touch each other, they die. So Jab gets time vortex to dinosaur times. He grabs his brother out of the hungry jaws of the Megalosaurus, and they both crash out of the time vortex and into modern times right in their brother's laps. Jab apologizes to Streaks, but Streaks says, nah, man, it was my fault. They hug, and then they go to get airport hamburgers, thus bringing the episode full circle. Meanwhile, in Paradigm's lab, he's all like, those dumb fucks think I destroyed my own shit? "Ha! I have the antimatter right here." Then he says, "Your time will come." Yeah. The end.
So, big problem I have with every time travel thing you end up seeing.
Yeah.
It's time travel,
Yes.
not space travel.
Right.
I would always be afraid to time travel because what if there was a tree standing where I was standing and I time traveled into the tree?
You got a Philadelphia experimented and become like fused to it. That's why there's no time travelers. They all died.
If I time traveled in my bedroom, I'd be in my bedroom yesterday. But these people are like, oh, I'm also now in ancient Greece.
Right. Could you use it to like just teleport to Paris and have like lunch in Paris and then?
As long as it was not current Paris, but by the time you left, it wouldn't be current anyway. It would be.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm gonna travel 30 minutes into the future to grab a bagel. Like,
if you got in your car right now and drove to the bagel store, you'd be time traveling to get a bagel.
Yeah, we're just time traveling at a rate of 1 second per second.
We've done it.
Hello, Mr. Nobel. It's me. I've got something that might interest you.
You know that time travel you've been looking for? Well, listen to this.
It's your cousin Marv.
So you
Marvin
say
time travel.
So you say best episode ever, huh?
I love this episode. This was everything I've ever wanted it to be. It was so stupid. It was so over the top. There was so much going on. It was just constant. Bam, 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 bam. They're never in the same location for like more than 2 minutes.
I enjoyed that we got to focus on two sharks mainly.
And it wasn't Ripster, so that was like a nice break.
But I feel the sharks are at their best when they're together.
They are. This gave them such an opportunity to explore some weird shit. Like, we got to see Atlanteans. We got to see cool dinosaurs. It was awesome.
One of those on their own would have been enough.
I'm surprised
you
they
could have
didn't
done
do
an
that.
entire Atlanteans episode.
Right.
And you didn't need to time travel to do it. I think the animation, while not the best looking, but the most consistent.
It was clean throughout. There was no glaring, like...
Clean lines. Paradigm had, like, a really nice jawline in this.
The shadowing, I noticed, they just, like... Usually it was just flat, but they did a lot of, like... They give it a lot of substance.
Consistently the best looking episode, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, if this is how the third season is going to be, I'm kind of excited to see where it goes, because it seems like they're like, fuck it, let's just go weird with it and see what happens.
Well, where's it going to go? What are we going to get next week? What do you think? Prediction time.
I think we get a new Seviet.
It's got to be better than Louis.
It has
Louis
to be better than
fucking
Shrimp
sucks.
Shrimp Louis fucking sucks.
I hope he gets re-slammed into something cool. And I was like, oh, you guys picked on me when I was a little shrimp. Now...
I think that next episode is a Shrimp Louis episode. I think it's going to be like his origin story or something like that. Like explain like who the fuck is Shrimp Louis? Where did you come from? Why do you exist?
I think he used an abnormal brain when he made him.
I think it was just like eating coconut shrimp and like dropped some shit in the Gene Slammer. And he's like, oh, god damn it. I gotta care for this asshole now.
We've laughed, we've cried, now we learned. And a segment we call Street Facts.
Shark Facts.
Did you know roads have to be repaved every 1,000 years if they were only carrying pedestrians, bikes, and scooters? They have to be repaved every 15 years if they're carrying cars, 10 for SUVs, and every 4 years for heavy trucks.
Hey, Shark Facts. By the early Jurassic period, the earliest true sharks, aka the six-gill sharks, had evolved, paving the way for modern sharks to come shortly after that.
Well, that just about does it for this week's episode. Thank you to our patrons, and we'll see you in another couple weeks. For now, I'm Richard Sullivan.
What are you going to be later?
Richard Sullivan again?
Oh, no. Aim higher. I'm Nate Magnuski, goddammit.
And as always, kids, remember, be a freak in the sheets.
And a shark in the streets.
Jurassic!